Many of us walk this earth as ghosts in armor. Look around you. Look at the people who populate the modern landscape. They are successful in many respects. They wear the uniforms of accomplishment. They have the degrees, the titles, the bank accounts, the social validation, and the outward metrics of a highly functioning human being. They appear entirely capable of deep fulfillment. On paper, their lives are complete, but beneath the polished exterior lies a quiet, devastating rot. There is a fundamental wound within them, an invisible fracture in the psychological foundation that prevents them from ever truly arriving. It is a barrier that locks them out of their own lives. They can achieve the world, but they cannot possess the joy of it. They build monuments to their ego, yet they remain starving inside. Why? Because they do not really know who they are. It is a strange paradox. It is not that we completely forget the facts of our lives. It is not that we suffer from standard amnesia. If asked, we can easily recount the foundations of our biographies. We can remember the names of our childhood schools, the dates of our graduations, the linear timeline of our career progression. We remember the history, but we are entirely disconnected from the subject of that history. When you strip away the external labels, when you remove the job title, the relationship status, and the societal expectations, what is left? For the vast majority of people, the answer is a terrifying, vast emptiness. We are profoundly, dangerously unsure of ourselves in two specific, catastrophic respects. First, we possess absolutely no stable internal feeling of what we are worth. Our value is an unstable currency, fluctuating wildly based on the market conditions of our environment. And second, we have no firm grip on our own values, our own standards, and our own judgment. We are psychological nomads, wandering through a landscape of social expectations, completely blind to the compass within us. We look at our reflection in the mirror, but we only see what the world expects us to see. We have traded our authentic identity for a counterfeit version, a mask designed to please everyone else, while the true self suffocates in the dark. Without knowing who we are not truly living. We are merely reacting. We are performing, and the stage we are performing on is built over an abyss. When you exist without an internal anchor, you are entirely at the mercy of the elements. Without knowing who we are, we develop major, debilitating problems dealing with external disparagement, criticism, or harassment. Think about what happens when the world turns cold. When another person decides, whether out of malice, ignorance, or their own projected trauma, that you are worthless, that you are bad, that you are a failure. If you do not possess a deeply rooted, unshakable knowledge of your own soul, there is absolutely nothing inside you to stop the bleed. There is no psychological shield. There is no inner defense mechanism to say, this is their sickness, not my truth. Instead, because your interior house is empty, you open the front door. You invite the executioner inside. You swallow their toxic judgments in their entirety, no matter how wrong, how extreme, or how profoundly unfriendly those judgments might be. You become a helpless defendant, appearing before the ruthless court of public opinion, and in that court, you are completely powerless. You will find yourself asking a million different questions about what you deserve, turning to strangers for the verdict of your own value, before you ever think to look within yourself for an answer. You allow people who do not even know your soul to write the script of your life. You give the keys of your emotional stability to individuals who wouldn't even care if you crashed. But the tragedy does not stop at how we handle pain. It is equally visible in how we chase pleasure. Without an independent judgment, we develop an unnatural, almost predatory longing for external praise. The applause of the audience becomes our oxygen. It means far more to us than it ever should. It crosses the line from a pleasant validation into a desperate, addictive necessity. We become praise junkies, constantly hunting for the next hit of social approval, the next nod of agreement, the next digital metric that tells us we are allowed to exist for one more day. And what happens to a person who relies on the crowd for their breath? They become a slave to the crowd's whims. You will find yourself rushing into every generic idea, every shallow activity, and every superficial trend that the audience happens to love right now. You will compromise your intellect. You will laugh out loud at jokes that are not funny. You will critically accept unworthy, destructive concepts simply because they are currently in fashion. You will bend your spine, Alter your voice and reshape your beliefs to fit into the narrow mold of contemporary acceptance. And in the process, you commit the ultimate betrayal. You neglect your true talents. You bury your unique original genius in the backyard, all for the sake of temporary popularity gains. You trade your divine spark for cheap, fleeting applause. You comply with public opinion. You run after it slavishly, like a dog chasing a master who beats it. You spend your entire life constantly checking the atmospheric moods of the world, scanning the horizons to see what is acceptable, instead of doing the hard, sacred work of interviewing your own inner barometer. You never stop to ask, what do I actually want? What do I truly feel? What do I honestly appreciate? You have built an exquisite prison of conformity, and you are both the inmate and the guard. To break this cycle, we must first extend an immense radical friendliness to ourselves. We must understand the mechanics of how we got here. Let us clear up a massive misconception. No human being is born with the innate, fully formed ability to know who they are independently. Identity is not pre-installed software. It is a structure that must be built, piece by piece, stone by stone. We learn how to have an identity, and that learning depends entirely on an extraordinary, early life blessing. If we are fortunate at a young age, someone else, a parent, a caretaker, a guardian, makes the monumental psychological effort to study us. They look down into our small, unformed existence with the greatest, most patient attention and kindness. They don't just look at us, they see through us. They observe our tiny quirks, our subtle fears, our spontaneous bursts of joy. And then, like a flawless mirror, they play us back to ourselves. They reflect our emotions in a way that makes complete sense, presenting a clear image that we can safely imitate later. They convey to us the rough draft of a true portrait. They hand us the first brushstrokes of our identity. Over the years, we take that portrait, we internalize it, we expand it, and we build upon it. It becomes our psychological armor. It is the fortress we retreat into when the world gets loud. It is the ultimate defense mechanism against the hasty, malicious, and distorted judgments of a cruel society. When someone tells you that you are nothing, you look at the portrait inside and realize they are lying. Therefore, we must come to a profound realization. To know who you are in adulthood is fundamentally a legacy. It is the inheritance of having been properly, deeply known by someone else at the very beginning. This early identity formation does not happen in grand cinematic milestones. It takes place in life-saving microscopic steps. It happens in the mundane, quiet corners of childhood. For instance, consider a child who has just scraped their knee or experienced a terrifying nightmare. They are crying, overwhelmed by an existential panic they cannot name. A healthy parent steps in and says, "Oh, that must have really hurt. It seems so simple. It seems so ordinary." But psychologically, it is seismic. With that single sentence, the parent confirms the child's internal reality. They validate their feelings. The child learns, what I feel inside is real. It is valid. It exists. Or imagine a child who feels miserable, sullen, and withdrawn on their own birthday, surrounded by expectations of joy. A wise parent does not scold them for ruining the party. Instead, they whisper, "It is okay not to be happy on your birthday." In that quiet moment, the parent carefully supports a less typical, completely unconventional reaction to a major event. They teach the child that their feelings do not have to match the crowd's expectations to be real. Ideally, excellent parents do not merely know the child. They perceive the child with radical sympathy and goodness. They offer generous pleasures. They stand fiercely on the side of the child. They are always ready to gloss over moments of bad mood, temporary failure, or clumsy mistakes in the best possible way. They provide a soft landing pad for the ego. And this exact environment forms the unshakable granite basis on which a resistant, indestructible self-esteem can later develop. This is the blueprint, this is the ideal. But we do not live in a perfect world. The ideal is rare. The reality is that the mirror is often warped, cracked, or completely absent. The process of identity formation goes wrong constantly, and the consequences are catastrophic. Sometimes parents reflect an image that has absolutely nothing to do with the internal reality of the child. They look at a weeping, anxious, terrified young soul, and because they cannot handle their own discomfort, they say, "Look what a happy little boy you are." or look at my brave, smiling little girl. They force a narrative onto the child's reality. When this happens, the child's ability to get in touch with their own authentic feelings is severely, permanently impaired. They learn a dangerous lesson. My internal radar is wrong. What I feel is a lie. To be loved, I must pretend to be something I am not. This is the birth of the false self. In other cases, parents interpret the child only through a brutal, punitive lens. They project their own inner demons onto the innocent. Every time the child makes a mistake, drops a glass, or expresses anger, the parent imputes bad intentions. They tell the child over and over again that they are malicious, that they are sneaky, that they are inherently no good. The child has no choice but to internalize this toxic script. They grow up believing that their very core is poisoned. But perhaps the most insidious damage is done not by cruelty, but by complete indifference. Many parents simply do not show much interest in the child at all. They are consumed by their own careers, their own digital screens, their own unresolved traumas, or their own narcissistic pursuits. They treat the child like a piece of living furniture, present but ignored. The child grows up with a profound, quiet horror. They develop the feeling that not only are they not worth promoting or celebrating, but that they do not exist at all. Think about the depth of that psychological trauma. If no one looks at you, if no one mirrors you, if no one validates your internal emotional state, you lose your grip on reality. A persistent, haunting feeling of unreality is the direct, psychological consequence of emotional neglect. You walk through the world like a ghost. You feel like a spectator in your own life, an imposter who might be exposed at any second. To realize that you lack a stable identity is a form of derealization. It is a terrifying state of suspension where nothing feels solid, least of all yourself. You are a ship lost at sea with no anchor, no captain, and a crew made of shadows. If you recognize yourself in this description, if you feel that hollow echo within your own chest, listen to me very carefully. This is not a life sentence. The realization that you lack a stable identity is painful, yes. It is a heavy truth to carry. But it is also the first day of your freedom. This is a problem we can fix with an immense psychological tailwind at any point in our lives. The architecture of the soul can always be rebuilt, but you cannot do it entirely alone in a dark room. You cannot cure an injury caused by isolation through more isolation. We need the help of a wise, deeply compassionate and friendly other person. We must actively search for that mirror. For many, this takes the form of a highly skilled psychotherapist. For others, it is an emotionally mature mentor, an evolved partner, or a friend who has done the deep internal work. We need to find someone who is willing to study us closely, someone who can look past our defensive masks, look past our performance and mirror us properly. We need a witness who can look at our raw, chaotic, unfiltered emotions and say, "I see you. What you feel makes complete sense. You are valid." And through their eyes, through that clean, unwarped mirror, we can finally begin to learn. We can learn to study our true feelings without shame. We can take genuine pleasure in what we actually want, independent of what the crowd demands. By being generously, consistently witnessed by another human being, we slowly learn the art of drawing our own side. We learn to back ourselves up. We learn to build an internal courtroom where we are the judge. Inwardly, you will find yourself increasingly, undeniably strengthened. You will reach a point where you can trust your own soul more than you trust the mindless noise of the masses. You will develop the immense, beautiful power to say no. You will stop swaying like a fragile reed in every passing wind of public opinion. You will walk into a room with the profound, quiet awareness that you are in full possession of some of the most ultimate, important truths about yourself. And once you have that, no one can take it away from you. When you have finally met yourself in this way, the entire world changes. You will find that you are a little less hungry for cheap praise. You will worry a little less about external resistance or criticism. You will become infinitely more original, daring, and authentic in your thinking. You will no longer be a copy of a copy. You will be a unique psychological force. You will have finally mastered the most important sacred art available to a human being on this earth, the art of knowing your true self and making a permanent, lifelong friend with it. To help you accelerate this journey of deep self-discovery, we have designed something specifically for this purpose. Our new self cards are created to guide you through the deepest, most elusive and hidden aspects of your mind. helping you understand the architecture of your soul with total clarity. Look at the link in the description below to secure your deck and begin the reclamation of your authentic life today. Thank you for watching. Stay grounded and remember who you are.